players say 3 different leagues. I'm ready. Are you guys ready? All right, so we are here with Aunt Kay, who's gonna ask me a question about what is something about the NFL. So, you want to ask me your question?
Yes, we live in Atlanta. Super Bowl, I was so excited about the Atlanta Falcons, way ahead of the Patriots. What in the world happened?
So I would say, which I'm very happy about the result in the Super Bowl as a Patriots fan, I would say it's a mixture of the Falcons not having enough experience in big moments like that, but also the Patriots do know how to play in the Super Bowl, and they knew that it's the Super Bowl. Anything can happen. Alright, so I'm with Chris Cranford here. He's a good friend of my dad's, and we're outside my uncle's pizza restaurant. So, do you have a question for me?
Yeah, Will, so what do you think the Razorbacks are going to do this next year with a new coach?
Right, a new coach. I mean, I think it's kind of a new beginning for them. Like, hopefully they can compete with some of the SEC teams. It's still going to be a challenge to even get 6 wins, but maybe a new start will happen where they'll get a little better from this season, because this season wasn't that good for them. So we are here with Uncle Rick, and he's our next person. I believe you have a question for me?
Yes, I do. How can the ground not cause a fumble, but can cause an incomplete pass?
Incomplete passes. These days in the NFL, no one has any idea what a catch is anymore. Yeah, games are being decided on stupid calls, and I don't know anymore. Anything could be a catch, anything could be incomplete. It's insane. So now we are here with my Grandma Carol, and she's hosting us in this house for the week. She's always nice enough to let us stay at her place for a week, and you don't watch football that much, but
I might surprise you.
Yeah, but you do have a question, don't you?
I do have a question. Well, my question has to do with the fact that I won the Super Bowl last year, and I worked very closely with my computer program.
Yep, definitely.
And this year I didn't do well at all.
Mm-hmm.
So which player did I pick that I shouldn't have?
You know, it's a lot of luck. And if you don't look at your team and you have players on bye weekend, I think that you drafted a pretty good team.
I get it.
But you were lucky enough to win it while you did, which I couldn't while looking at it every single day for a year. So be very proud of that.
Okay, I'll hang on to last year's win. Good.
You guys are gonna kick it off.
So now we are here with one of the Super Bowl champions from our family Yahoo Fantasy Football Leagues, Uncle Ed. I believe you have a question for me.
Yes. Who are your top 3 quarterbacks that have never been suspended for cheating?
Okay, so they probably have to be Aaron Rodgers. He's good. I'd also say Drew Brees, because he's had a great career and he's starting to bring a young Saints team to a very high spot.
He's getting better.
Yeah. And for the third one, but I'll go Big Ben because of all of his playoff experiences and leading good teams in his Super Bowl experience. He's a pretty good quarterback.
Yeah.
Just won this cool Patriots ball in here, but here's the owner of the restaurant, my Uncle Tim. And do you have a question for me?
My question would be, based on this year's performance, who would you pick? Who would you think the top 5 fantasy players would be for the 2018 season?
That's a good question. Yeah, I would definitely go with Gurley. These are in no particular order. I would pick Gurley, Brown, Le'Veon Bell, probably Zeke would probably still be up there. Maybe like Alvin Kamara for the Saints. Right. Here with my Uncle Mike and his son Nathan. And do you have a question for me?
I do have a question. How do you think those those close playoff matchups are going to go for this weekend? Who do you think is going to make it in?
So I think in the AFC, the Ravens are going to win and get the first wild card spot, and then the Titans will lose, and then the Chargers will win, which will get them a wild card spot. And then the NFC, I think that unfortunately the Falcons are going to lose, and the Seahawks are going to win, getting them. I'm here with my mom, who has a question for me, right?
I do. So we have a lot on the line, Will, in our staff fantasy football league.
Yes,
this
we do.
year. And you've been playing with some real money. So what's it going to take for us to pull out a win?
Okay, so to give a little background on this league, you guys probably know that my mom teaches, and all the staff at the school formed a fantasy football league for money, so I could win $350 if I win this week in the Super Bowl. I think it'll take for us to win is our players not resting, but our players playing the full 60 minutes. They need to get their minutes in, and they need to get their touchdowns and all that stuff, but they need to not get rested by their coaches, because it's week 17 and that's really common.
All right, we're counting on you, Will.
Lots of steak.
Bring home the bacon.
Is the most eligible bachelor in the NFL right now?
I don't know that one.
Oh.
Probably, yeah, that's probably right.
Okay.
Gronk, probably.
Okay. I'm gonna look him up.
My great aunt Margaret, and you have a question?
Yes. What do you think of the New Orleans Saints and Drew Brees?
They're a lot better this year, but not because of Drew Brees. I think that they're better because they're getting more players that don't have to force Drew Brees to do everything for them. And their defense is strong too, so they have a well-rounded team rather than a one-man team like it was over the past few years, which caused them to not do so well.
Excellent, excellent.
We are here with Grandpa Chuck on the way to the airport, and you have a question?
Yes. Will, what would you do to improve the annual NFL draft of future players?
I think it would be cooler if it was easier to watch.
It takes too long for each player to come up and
Yeah.
put on his cap and celebrate with his family, and after a while that gets a little tedious, right?
Yep.
So it should certainly move more briskly for the contemporary audience. Is that
All right, so Grandpa, who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl this year?
Minnesota Vikings.
All right, so my question to you is, who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl?
Well, this is where I'm going to surprise you because you don't know how much I actually follow this. And there's no question but the Cleveland Indians.
They have a good chance, don't they? All right, so now that we know that the Cleveland Indians are going to win the Super Bowl this year, I appreciate you for coming on and telling me that. Thank you very much.
It's been nice to be on your show.
Who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl at this point?
Not the Falcons. You don't think the Saints will win?
They could. I mean, there's a bunch of other teams that are good, but they're definitely one of the teams up there. I think that they can go to the NFC Championship. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl this year? Just an early prediction. We're almost to the playoffs. There's about 15 teams left that could possibly win it. Is there any team you think that has a good chance?
Do you think the Atlanta Falcons could possibly be there again?
I think that, well, first they have to make it into the playoffs this week by beating the Panthers, who are a good team. So it's going to be tricky to make it to the, I think they have a 50-50 chance to make it to the playoffs. Thank you very much for
You're quite welcome. I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it too. All right, thank you. So who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl?
As much as I cheer for the Seahawks, I think the Steelers are gonna. I think the Steelers' offense is just too good to be stopped. I think they're gonna take it this year.
All right, thank you. Who's your early pick to win the Super Bowl right now?
You would have to tell me who's playing in the Super Bowl.
Well, we don't know who's playing in the Super Bowl yet, but there's a few teams like Have you heard the Patriots before?
I've heard of the Patriots.
They're looking good. There's like the Eagles, the Saints, the Vikings, the Steelers. Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the Steelers.
All right.
Putting all my money on them.
All right. So my question to you is, who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl at this point?
Unfortunately, I think the hated Patriots will probably do it, although the Saints actually are playing real well.
They are, but yeah.
But I'm sure whoever I pick will lose.
Then maybe don't pick the Patriots.
I won't pick the Patriots.
Appreciate you so much for coming on and asking me a question.
Not a problem. Thank you.
My question to you is, who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl?
I'm gonna pick the Steelers this year.
Same.
Yeah, going with the Steelers. All right, nice pick.
All right, thank you.
Football fun. Thank you.
Who do you guys think is going to win the Super Bowl?
This says, Seattle Seahawks.
All right. We'll see if that happens.
There's a possibility.
My question to you is, who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl? Being Week 17 is about to happen. At this point, who do you think has the best odds of winning?
You mentioned the Saints, the Rams, the Vikings, and Philadelphia.
Those are a handful of
They're
good
really
NFC
strong.
teams. Yeah.
Of those, I hope the Saints win, because we love New Orleans and we love the way they play, and they're looking really good. I'd really love to see them win, and I'd love to see them play Pittsburgh in the Super Bowl. But I think any of those four, I think the NFC is dominant this year, so whoever wins the NFC.
Yeah, I have to agree with that one. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl at this point?
I'm gonna go with my hometown team, the New England Patriots.
Finally. All right, thank you.
Great talking with you.
All right, so we are back from Arkansas, and we are watching the bowl game, the Georgia-Oklahoma bowl game. And I realized I forgot that I never said who I thought was going to win the Super Bowl. So my prediction is that the Patriots are going to go to Minnesota and take out the Vikings, which I would be very happy with. But it's also what I predict. That was one of the plays that helped me win my Super Bowl in fantasy football, got me $350. Good job, Deion Lewis, and good job to my fantasy football team. They just made me some money.
Hey, Will Chapel, who won the Super Bowl?